Matthew 13 to 15. On that day Yeshua went out of the house and sat by the seaside. Great multitudes gathered to him, so that they entered into a boat and sat, and all the multitude stood on the beach. He spoke to them many things in parables, saying, Behold, the sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell on the roadside, and the birds came up and devoured them. Other fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, because they had no depth of earth. When the sun had risen, they were scorched, because they had no root. They withered away. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Others fell on good soil and yielded fruit, some 100 times as much, some 60, and some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. The disciples came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? He answered them, To you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but it is not given to them. For whoever has, to him will be given, and he who will have abundance, but whoever does not have, from him it will be taken away, even that which he has. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, neither do they understand. In them the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, By hearing you will hear, and in no way understand, and seeing you will see, and in no way receive. For this people here has grown callous. Their ears are dull of hearing, and they have closed their eyes. Or else perhaps they might perceive with their eyes, and hear with their ears, understand with their heart, and would turn again, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For amen, I tell you, that many prophets in Zacchaeum desired to see the things which you see, and do not see them, and to hear the things that you hear, and do not hear them. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away that which has been sown in their heart. This is what was sown by the roadside. What was sown on the rocky places, this is he who hears the word immediately with joy receives it, yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. When oppression or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. What was thrown among the thorns, this is he who hears the word, but cares of this age and deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. What was sown on the good ground, this is he who hears the word and understands it, who most certainly bears fruit and produces, some 100 times as much, some 60, and some 30. He set another parable before them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sows good seed in his field. But while his men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed darnel weeds among the wheat and went away. But when the blades sprang up and produced fruit, then the darnel weeds appeared also. The servants of the household came and said to him, Sir, did we not sow good seed in your field? Where did these darnel weeds come from? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants asked him, Do you want us to go up and gather them up? But he said, No, lest perhaps while you gather up the darnel weeds, you root up the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the harvest time I will tell the reapers, First gather up the darnel weeds and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. He set another parable before them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is smaller than all seeds, but when it is grown, it is greater than the herbs, and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in its branches. He spoke another parable to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like chametz, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour until it was leavened. Yeshua spoke of these parables to the multitudes, and without a parable he did not speak to them, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken through the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things hidden from the foundation of the world. Then Yeshua sent the multitudes away and went into the house, and his disciples came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the darnel weeds of the field. He answered them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. And the good seed, these are the children of the kingdom, and the darnel weeds are the children of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the darnel weeds are gathered up and burned with fire, so will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out his kingdom all things that cause stumbling and those who do iniquity, and will cast them into the furnace of the fire. There will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has an ear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in the field, which a man found and hid. And in his joy, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who is a merchant seeking fine pearls, who, having found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet that was cast into the sea and gathered some fish of every kind, which, when it was filled, they drew up on the beach, and they sat down and gathered the good into containers, but the bad they threw away. So will it be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the evil from among the righteous, and will cast them into the fiery furnace. There will be the weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeshua said to them, Have you understood all these things? They said to him, Yes, Lord. And he said to them, Therefore, every Torah teacher who has been made a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like a man who is a householder, who brings out his treasure, new and old things. And it came to pass when Yeshua had finished these parables that he departed from there, and coming to his own country he taught them in their synagogue, so that they were astonished, and said, Where did this man get this wisdom and these mighty works? Is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother Miriam, and his brothers Jacob, Joseph, Simon, and Judah? Are not all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all these things? And they were offended by him. But Yeshua said to them, A prophet is not without honor, except in his own country and in his own house. And he did not do many mighty works there because of their unbelief. At that time Herod the Tetrarch heard the report about Yeshua and said to his servants, This is John the Immerser. He is risen from the dead. That is why these powers work in him. For Herod had arrested John and bound him and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John said to him, It is not lawful for you to have her. When he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced among them and pleased Herod. Therefore, he promised with an oath to give her whatever she should ask. She, being prompted by her mother, said, Give me here a platter, the head of John the Immerser. The king was grieved, but for the sake of his oaths and those who sat at the table with him, he commanded it to be given. And he sent and beheaded John in prison. And his head was brought on a platter and given to the young lady, and she brought it to her mother. His disciples came and took the body and buried it. There they went and told Yeshua. Now when Yeshua heard it, he withdrew from there in a boat in a deserted place apart. And when the multitudes heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. Yeshua went out and saw a great multitude and had compassion on them and healed their sick. When evening had come, his disciples came to him, saying, This place is deserted, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves food. But Yeshua said to them, They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. They told him, We only have 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, Bring them here to me. And he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. Looking up to heaven, he blessed, broke, and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes. And they all ate and were filled. They took up 12 baskets full of which left over the broken pieces. Now those who ate were 5,000 men, in addition to women and children. Immediately, Yeshua made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. After he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into the mountain himself to pray. And when the evening had come, he was there alone. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, distressed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. In the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua came to them walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a ghost!" And they cried out for fear. But immediately Yeshua spoke to them, saying, "Cheer up! It is I! Do not be afraid." Peter answered and said to him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the waters." He said, "Come." Peter stepped down from the boat and walked on the waters to come to Yeshua. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me!" And immediately Yeshua stretched out his hand, took hold of him, and said to him, "You have little faith. Why did you doubt?" When they got up into the boat, the wind ceased. Those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "You are truly the Son of God." When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. When the people of that place recognized him, they sent into all the surrounding region and brought to him all who were sick, and they begged him that they might just touch his tzitzit in his garment. As many as touched were made whole. Then Pharisees and Torah teachers came to Yeshua from Jerusalem, saying, Why do your disciples disobey the traditions of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread. And he answered them, Why do you also disobey the commandments of God because of your tradition? For God commanded, Honor your father and mother, and he who speaks evil of his father and mother, let him be put to death. But you say, Whoever may tell his father and his mother, Whatever help you might have otherwise gotten from me is a gift devoted to God. He shall not honor his father or mother. You have made the commandment of God void because of your tradition, you hypocrites. Well, did Isaiah prophesy to you, saying, These people draw near to me with their mouth, and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And in vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrine rules made by men. And he summoned the multitude and said to them, Hear and understand. That which enters into the mouth does not defile the man, but that which proceeds out of the mouth, this defiles the man. Then his disciples came and said to him, Do you not know that the Pharisees were offended when they heard this saying? But he answered, Every plant which my heavenly Father did not plant will be uprooted. Leave them alone. They are blind guides of the blind. If the blind guide the blind, both will fall into the pit. But Peter answered him, Explain the parable to us. So Yeshua said, Do you also still not understand? Do you not understand that whatever goes into the mouth passes into the belly and then out of the body? But the things which proceed out of the mouth come out from the heart, and they defile the man. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murders, adulterers, sexual sins, thefts, false testimony, and blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashed hands does not defile a man. And Yeshua went out from there and withdrew into the region of Tyre and Sidon. Behold, a Canaanite woman came out from those borders and cried, saying, Have mercy on me, Lord, you son of David. My daughter is severely possessed by a demon. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and begged him, saying, Send her away, for she cries after us. But he answered, I was not sent to anyone but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But she came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered, It is not appropriate to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. But she said, Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that which fall from the master's table. Then Yeshua answered her, Woman, great is your faith. Be it done to you even as you desire. And her daughter was healed from that hour. Yeshua departed from there and came near to the Sea of Galilee. And he went up into the mountain and sat there. And great multitudes came to him, having with them the lame, blind, mute, maimed, and many others, and put them down at his feet, and he healed them. So that the multitude wondered when they saw mute speaking, and injured healed, and lame walking, and blind seeing, that they glorified God of Israel. And Yeshua summoned his disciples and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they have continued with me now 3 days, and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away fasting, or that they might faint on the way. And the disciples said to him, Where should we go to get many loaves in a deserted place as to satisfy so great a multitude? And Yeshua said to them, How many loaves do you have? And he said, 7, and a few small fish. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves and the fish. He gave thanks and broke them and gave to the disciples, and the disciples to the multitudes. And they all ate and were filled. And they took up 7 baskets full of broken pieces that were left over. Those who ate were 4,000 men, in addition to women and children. Then they sent the multitudes away, got into the boat, and came to the borders of Magdala.